Corey has a decades-long record of physical battery, sexual harassment, illegal lobbying for a Venezuelan oil company, and bringing a loaded gun into a federal building. Despite being fired or removed from virtually every position he has ever held due to misconduct, he now wields unchecked, unconfirmed, undisclosed power over your department. This person has no experience running anything close to Department of Homeland Security or even advising someone in your position. He is unqualified, which again has left my constituents and I wondering why he is your top official. So Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Patriots, this hearing just turned into absolute political warfare. Inside Congress, a Democrat congresswoman tried to corner DHS Secretary Kristi Noem with explosive allegations about Corey Lewandowski, conflict of interest claims, and even personal relationship accusations live on camera. But here's the bigger question nobody should ignore. Is this really about protecting America? Or was this another made-for-TV political ambush? Before we break it all down, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to The Red Verdict, and turn on notifications because we're exposing the chaos in Washington without the corporate media spin.
The gentlelady from California is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Secretary, for joining us. Finally, you are in charge of protecting the homeland, and so your judgment and the judgment of your senior staff can be the difference between life and death. So I think that judgment would need to be unassailable. Why then, is the question, have you made Corey Lewandowski your de facto chief of staff who possesses an unchecked level of power at DHS? Under your leadership, this person has done things like fire your FEMA administrator while sitting behind your desk, which is your job to do, lobby to build the controversial detention facility known as Alligator Alcatraz, which has turned into a legal boondoggle costing Florida millions, and have veto and reviewing and signing power over large DHS contracts and grants, which again is your job. DHS has critical agency components like the Secret Service, FEMA, Border Patrol, cybersecurity. So does Corey Lewandowski have national security experience, military experience, law enforcement experience? No. He is a lobbyist, a failed campaign manager, which is causing my constituents who are waiting for their FEMA dollars and me to wonder what are his qualifications for this job. So according to the Wall Street Journal, you and Mr. L have a close relationship that has made President Trump, quote, uncomfortable. The president reportedly denounced Corey Lewandowski as your chief of staff due to reports of a romantic relationship between the two of you. So instead, you designated him as a special government employee, a position he has had well beyond the allowed 130 days and requires him to disclose if he is making money off of his position. Trump knows that this guy is shady. Corey has a decades-long record of physical battery, sexual harassment, illegal lobbying for a Venezuelan oil company, and bringing a loaded gun into a federal building. Despite being fired or removed from virtually every position he has ever held due to misconduct, he now wields unchecked, unconfirmed, undisclosed power over your department. This person has no experience running anything close to Department of Homeland Security or even advising someone in your position. He is unqualified, which again has left my constituents and I wondering why he is your top official. So Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming
and
my
ma'am,
time.
one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House. There are thousands of them in the federal government.
So reclaiming my time, Secretary, it is okay for you to be offended by the question. It is okay for you to be offended by the question. But it is also a real question.
So what I would say
and
to
you should be able to
is
answer
that
the
what
question
we do at the Department of Homeland Security
clearly
every single day.
And without any hesitation.
Every single day is to protect
If
this
someone
country
is
and to
asking
make
if
decisions.
you or any federal official is sleeping with their subordinate, that should be the easiest. You should be wanting to answer that question.
Is garbage.
Because it is not about
It is
your sex
offensive
life.
that you have brought
It is
that up.
about your
No,
judgment.
that kind of garbage
It is
has been
about
refuted
reclaiming
for
my
years,
time so
and
that
you
I
need
can
to
hear myself.
recognize-
Time belongs to the gentlelady from California, but it'd be nice if you would let her respond.
I will. I want to let you know, it is about your judgment and decision-making. It is about the 260,000 employees that work under you that want to make sure that you are giving information and making decisions clearly. It is about conflict of interest. It is about a national security risk. Department of Homeland Security was created right after 9/11 to protect the homeland. And DHS has circulated an internal bulletin to law enforcement partners warning that the conflict of the war we're in could inspire lone actors or small-scale cyber activity inside the United States, according to a memo obtained by ABC News. So American lives are at risk. The people who work for you are at risk. And they want to know that the person at the top, you, are making decisions clearly, without any sort of cloudiness, and that they're your decisions because you're the secretary who was confirmed. That's what this is about. Saving the lives of Americans and not costing them millions of dollars and not having a secretary who's compromised in her decision-making. And Mr. Chair, before I yield my time, I would like to enter into the record some articles, and I'm asking for unanimous consent. Noem tightens her grip on DHS. Lewandowski fired FEMA admin.
Without
while sitting-
objection.
Okay. The next one is Kristi Noem secretly took a cut of political donations from ProPublica.
Without objection.
Kristi Noem fires pilot over a blanket, but is forced to reinstate him to fly home. Wall Street Journal.
Without objection.
Lewandowski taking out trash at Noem's D.C. home. Daily Beast.
Without objection.
Barbie's Mile High privacy chamber with alleged lover exposed. Wall Street Journal, how Corey Lewandowski became Kristi Noem's gatekeeper at DHS.
Without objection.
A pilot fired over Kristi Noem's missing blanket and the constant chaos inside DHS.
Without
Wall
objection.
Street Journal. Police charged Trump campaign manager with assault. PBS News.
Without objection.
Woman who accused Corey Lewandowski of assault speaks out. I don't want this to happen to anyone else. CBS News. Lewandowski's firm quietly inked deal with Venezuela-owned company, Politico.
Without objection.
List of U.S. cities raising security amid Iran conflict. Newsweek.
Without objection.
Kristi Noem, I have a few more, I'm sorry. Kristi Noem misled Congress yesterday about top aides' role in DHS contracts.
Without objection.
Policy number 10271 from ICE, it is an anti-fraternization policy prohibiting romantic or sexual relationships between supervisors and their subordinates. And with that, I yield.
Without objection. Gentleman from Texas, recognized for 5 minutes.
What you just watched was one of the most heated Homeland Security hearings in recent memory. The questioning centered around DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and longtime Trump ally Corey Lewandowski, with accusations ranging from conflicts of interest to allegations about personal relationships, influencing government decisions. Now let's separate the politics from the facts. The Congresswoman's main argument was that Lewandowski allegedly holds too much influence inside DHS despite not being Senate confirmed. She claimed he had influence over FEMA staffing decisions, DHS contracts, and immigration policy operations. She also pointed to reports from outlets like the Wall Street Journal and other media organizations suggesting that President Donald Trump himself had concerns about Lewandowski's role. But here's where I think conservatives and patriots need to stay focused and disciplined. There's a legitimate conversation to be had about accountability inside massive federal agencies. DHS is not a small operation. It oversees border security, FEMA, cybersecurity, the Secret Service, immigration enforcement, and counterterrorism operations. Americans absolutely have the right to ask who is influencing major decisions inside the department. That part is fair, but what happened in this hearing quickly crossed from oversight into political theater. Instead of focusing entirely on policy failures, border security, terror threats, or FEMA performance, the hearing turned into tabloid style, questioning about alleged personal relationships. That may generate viral clips online, but it does not necessarily help Americans understand whether the department is effectively protecting the homeland. And this is where many Americans are exhausted with Washington. Democrats spent years downplaying the border crisis under former DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas while millions crossed the border illegally. Fentanyl poured into communities, and cartel activity exploded. Now suddenly they want to present themselves as guardians of DHS ethics and accountability. At the same time, Republicans cannot afford to simply dismiss every criticism automatically either. If unelected advisors are exercising major authority over contracts, staffing, or operational decisions, Americans deserve transparency. That applies no matter which party is in power. Conservatives believe in strong leadership, but also accountability. What stood out most to me was how divided Washington has become during a period of genuine national security concerns. The Congresswoman referenced internal DHS bulletins warning about cyber threats, lone wolf attacks, and homeland risks connected to growing instability overseas. Those threats are real. America faces rising tensions abroad while also dealing with vulnerabilities at home. And instead of projecting unity and competence, Congress once again turned a hearing into a political spectacle. Secretary Noem rejected the accusations and called them tabloid garbage, arguing that Lewandowski is simply one of many special government employees working with the administration. Her defenders would argue this is just another attempt to damage a Trump ally through scandal politics. Critics would argue that refusing to directly answer certain questions only fuels more suspicion. That's the reality. But from a right-wing patriot perspective, here's the bigger picture. The American people care far more about results than political gossip. They want secure borders. They want FEMA that actually responds quickly during disasters. They want competent leadership. They want law enforcement protected. They want terrorist threats stopped before Americans get hurt. That is what DHS should be laser focused on. Because while politicians fight over headlines, ordinary Americans are dealing with inflation, crime, border instability, and growing uncertainty about the future of the country. And honestly, this hearing showed exactly why trust in Washington keeps collapsing. One side seems obsessed with scandal narratives. The other side sometimes responds by avoiding direct answers, instead of shutting accusations down clearly and confidently. That combination creates even more distrust. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think this hearing exposed legitimate concerns about DHS leadership? Or do you believe this was purely a political attack designed to embarrass Secretary Noem and the Trump administration? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more unapologetic conservative commentary, real political analysis, and breakdowns the mainstream media will never give you honestly, subscribe to The Red Verdict right now. Like this video, share it everywhere, and help this channel grow. Because the fight for truth is far from over.